After scaling to 46 rent-to-rent Airbnb properties and making tons of mistakes ourselves through trial and error along the way, I can tell you this with total honesty. Most people don't lose money in this game because rent-to-rent doesn't work. They lose money because they make the same 3 mistakes. And the worrying part is most people don't even realise they're making them at the time. They only realise once the pressure, the stress, or the cash flow problems start to show up. Today I want to walk you through those exact 3 mistakes and more importantly, how to avoid them from day one with everything we've learned at LLB Property Academy. And what usually surprises people is that the first mistake doesn't happen months into the journey, it happens right at the very beginning when everything feels exciting and full of potential. Mistake 1 is not setting the business up properly. This is where more rent-to-rent businesses quietly fall apart than anywhere else. People rush to find a deal before they've set up the foundations. They haven't fully understood their company structure, they haven't checked the right licensing position, and they don't always appreciate what written landlord consent is really protecting them from. So everything feels fine at first, the income starts coming in, the bookings look okay, and it gives this false sense of security that everything is sorted. Then a small issue shows up, a council query, a neighbour complaint, an agent asking questions, or even something buried inside a mortgage clause, and suddenly the whole business feels shaky. Not because the deal itself was bad, but because the setup underneath it was never solid. Rent-to-rent only works properly when it's treated like a real business from day one. That means the right structure, correct permissions, written consent and documentation that protects you when pressure shows up. It's not glamorous, it doesn't look exciting on social media, but it's exactly what keeps your income alive when things get tested. And once people finally feel like they're set up properly, that's usually when the next mistake sneaks in. And this one disguises itself as opportunity. So the second mistake is choosing the wrong area. This is where people fall in love with the property instead of falling in love with the demand behind it. They see the kitchen, the fresh paint, the space, the photos they imagine putting on Airbnb, and instinctively they think this will smash it. But here's the truth that catches a lot of people out. The deal is never the property, it's the demand underneath it. We see people take really nice flats in areas with weekday bookings, no contractor traffic, no relocations, and no consistent midweek demand. On paper, it looks exciting. In real life, the income is inconsistent, unpredictable, and stressful. The real mistake here isn't choosing a bad property, it's choosing the wrong guest avatar. If you don't know exactly who your guest is before you sign that agreement, whether it's contractors, relocations, professionals, or families between moves, then you're guessing. And with guessing, monthly rent attached, it's expensive. A simple flat in the right demand zone will always outperform a stunning apartment in the wrong one, every single time. And even when someone finally gets the setup right and chooses an area with real demand, there's still one mistake that quietly destroys the profit if it isn't handled properly. And that is over-promising rent to landlords. This mistake nearly always comes from pressure. You found a decent property, there's competition, you really want the deal to work, and in that moment, it's very easy to agree to a rent that feels good emotionally, but it is brutal financially over time. It feels like a win when the landlord says yes, then the quieter weeks arrive, the seasonal dips show up, and suddenly you're working flat out just to stand still. Here's the honest truth most people don't want to hear. If your deal only works at 90 to 100% occupancy, you don't have a strong business model, you have a stress machine. We operate off one non-negotiable rule. If a deal doesn't at least break even at around 50% occupancy, we don't touch it. That one rule protects you in slow months, it protects you when bookings dip, and it gives you breathing room instead of constant financial pressure, because winning a deal at any cost means nothing if the deal can't win for you long term. And when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, almost every struggle we see in rent to rent comes back to one of those three mistakes in one form or another. Not setting the business up properly, choosing the wrong area, and over-promising rent to landlords. Every single one of those mistakes is completely avoidable when you follow the right framework from day one. The reason we're so passionate about sharing this properly is because when rent to rent is built the right way, it genuinely changes what's possible financially with your time and with the options that you have going forward. And if your goal is to avoid making these same costly mistakes and learn how to approach these the right way from the start, the next step is simple. Go and follow our Instagram. That is where we break down how to avoid bad areas, avoid bad numbers, avoid bad setups, and build this properly, step by step, without gambling your future. No hype, just real guidance. I'll see you over there.